Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is December 16th, 2024. December 16th, 2024. My name is Elena Kingethi, and for those of you who don't know, I am I don't even know what you call me. Some people call me a subject matter expert. It just kind of depends. Anyway, I wanted to do this video this morning. For me, I'm just Elena. But anyway, I wanted to do this video this morning because I was doing some research over the weekend, right? And for some of you guys who don't know, I've been in the trucking game since 2008. In the years, I tell everybody I do everything but drive a truck. I never, ever, ever want to drive a truck, right? But I've been in the game since 2008. And so throughout the time, I've brokered. When I first got into trucking, I actually started a brokerage. I didn't know anything about trucking, anything like that. I opened a freight brokerage firm, and I started from the ground up. It was organically. My ex-husband and I, we got our own clients, things like that. Brokerage did really very, very good. From that, I'm just kind of giving you a fast forward of me, right? From that, I went into dispatching. Opened a dispatching center where I had dispatchers under me and things like that. Then from there, I went to managing trucking companies, managing meaning basically doing all the things for trucking companies that you can imagine, doing their paperwork, their compliance, regulations. Eventually, I owned my own trucks, and I had trucks on the road and things like that. And so that's where I want to kind of talk about today. When I had the trucks on the road, COVID hit, and COVID made anybody who was in trucking during COVID, it was like just awesome. COVID wasn't good. I need to delete this stuff, but COVID wasn't good. But for the trucking industry, we really made a lot of money during COVID. A lot of people came into trucking during the COVID, while COVID was going on and things like that. After COVID, you guys, it became, if you've been in trucking for a while, then after COVID hit, hey Corinne, hey honey. I can always count on you, honey. I can always count on you. It don't matter how many years, how many months, how many days I ain't posted, I can count on Corinne. Hey Corinne. Anyway, after COVID, after we came off COVID, the rates just dropped drastically. And people that had not been in trucking, it was like a surprise, because for us that have been in the industry to see those $4-5 a mile rates on COVID, and averaging $3 a mile, I'm talking about owner ops and things like that, it was something, and so the rates hit back down to like that $2, $2.50 a mile, and it was like, and at the time the rates dropped, and at the same time the fuel was still up there, you know what I mean? And so it's one thing it's one thing when your fuel, when the rates adjust and then fuel adjust with it, because when you own a truck, all those expenses you take into consideration. Like, even if I'm getting good money, I still have my expenses that I have to pay. Your expenses, your driver, your fuel, all those type of things, your insurance, your truck payment, all of those things still go in effect, and so even like if the rates drop and the fuel dropped at the same time, you can still see some light at the end of a tunnel. But there was a time after COVID, I think everybody went into shock because the rates dropped and then the fuel was still high. You know what I'm saying? And, I took a hit. I took hits. My clients took hits. I think if you were in trucking at that time, you took hits unless, I used to do videos and I would talk about, you have to learn how to maneuver. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you leave the industry. It means that you got to learn how to maneuver this thing. At the time, oil fields were still doing good. There were other ways that you could make money. You could do your short runs instead of your long runs. keep it short instead of going long, and you can make money. For me, myself, I it was a dream of mine to start a CDL program. And honestly, my truck's on the road and so much going on, I just never did it. And so at that time, it was like, you know what? This is what I think this the time I need to go ahead and turn in all my paperwork and get my, training going and things like that. And so I started, our CDL school and our CDL courses, and it was going good. One reason why I quit getting online and things like that, because sometimes you just gotta focus. And when something is new, like you gotta focus and figure it out, and you have learning curves. And so doing the whole school and the whole training, it was just all this learning curve, like in trucking, I was comfortable because I had so many training, learning curves that I had figured this thing out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything happens to anybody in trucking, like my phone was the one that somebody would call. Well, what do I do with this? Well, how do I handle this? Well, this and that. And it's like, you know what? I only know how to handle this stuff because I went through all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I went through trucks getting stuck in the mountains and not knowing how to get out. I went through price gouging from tow truck companies. You know what I'm saying? Charging you thousands of dollars to get out and things like that. And that was the only reason why I could become that source. And so, anywho, as the rates began to drop, I was like, Elena, you are sitting out here giving people advice, telling people they need to learn how to maneuver and get around and do something else. So you need to. And so I went full pledge with the training. And y'all, let me tell y'all, these last 2 years have been such a huge learning curve for me. We opened up, of course, our CDL courses. Then my other courses, we started getting other courses in the program and things like that. We started venturing to other states, doing the training. I'm in Missouri, of course. We got approved for the state of Kansas, Oklahoma, and just kind of going different ways. I started learning how this money flow, y'all. Like for real, like how the federal money, the federal government or whatever gets money, sends it down to the states, and that people, have money to the government gives money for people to be able to take training and go to school and things like that. Yeah, I learned the politics that go on with this kind of stuff. I thought it was politics. Well, it really ain't no politics. It's politics in trucking, but the thing with the trucking industry is that if you own your trucks and you're doing your own thing, you don't really too much got to worry about the politics because you just over there floating in your own little world, And I realized I had to fly like an eagle and get out and get into that whole world and sector, and it's just really, when I say it's been a learning curve, it's been a learning curve. But one thing I can say that I learned is that, which I knew anyway, but I'm going to just give it to y'all for real, for real. Like if you got a dream in your heart and it's something that you want to do, you can do it. Let me tell y'all, you can do it. It is so much availability out here and people just don't pick it up. You know what I'm saying? So what, you got to do some paperwork. So what, you got to submit this stuff, you got to submit that stuff, because that's what always stopped me was I don't want to be doing all that paperwork. And then if I do all that paperwork, what if I don't get approved and this and that? And one thing that I learned is that if number one, our urban communities are suffering, y'all. This ain't even what I came on here to talk about, but our urban communities are really, really suffering. You know what I'm saying? Like our young people, our younger generation, they just suffering and they need programs. Like programs are needed. Programs are needed. I don't care what you do. You can teach, you can train, you can teach it to somebody. This is the route and things like that. Over the course of the last 2 years, I became a certified job coach for the state of Kansas. And which I've always done anyway, but I got the certification behind me. And just, talking to people and encouraging people, you can do this, even if it's not in trucking, let's get you a game plan together. Let's do something. Cause y'all, for real, if we're not there for them, who is gonna be there for them? If we don't take them under our wings, then who is gonna take them under their wings? Anywho, but the reason why I came on is it's the end of the year. And like I said, I was doing like this research this weekend. It was saying it's about to be a carrier's market. I was like, oh my God, because I've always said this forever. Whatever goes up must come down. Whatever goes down must come up. It's basic economics. You know what I'm saying? As long as consumers need goods and as long as things are going on and things like that, then we're going to need trucking. That's just it. That's just it. Transportation has to flow and things like that, and I'm optimistic when it comes to things. Like I said, even when, the industry hit low, it was like, okay, I'm still gonna maneuver. Because guess what, y'all? Those guys that I taught that came through our program for CDL training, those bigger, larger companies, they're paying those guys and they need drivers because it's a driver shortage. It's gonna always be a driver shortage. I shouldn't say always, but it's gonna be a driver shortage. You know what I'm saying? It's a driver shortage. People get in it, they don't want to do it. You got your older people that are retiring. You have people that come in and, after you drive for a year or two, maybe want their own truck or whatever. You got people that go long, then they decide they want to go short. I mean, it's just that's the nature of our business, and it's just the nature of things. So anyway, I wanted to offer this class. It had been on my heart. I say it's been on my heart for the last couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? And I only want to do $99. It's only going to be $99. And basically, a course that teaches the different avenues you can go in trucking, because I think people don't get it and people don't understand, like how you can be an owner operator, how you can have owner ops under you. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to get a big semi truck to have owner ops under you. And, you can have the number and, charge 20%, for people driving up under you, how you can do compliance, manage the books of trucking companies that are in, how if you decide you want to get your own truck, you can get box truck, you can get a semi, you can, it's just so many different routes in this industry that you can go. One of the things I always say in my training is that this industry is hungry and thirsty. Anything you do in the real world, you can do in trucking. We need tax people. We need, guess what, attorneys. We need people writing contracts. We need job recruiters, people that are in HR, learning the industry and learning how to recruit drivers and things like that. It's a lot that you can do. Like, this industry is really, really rich. When I say it's rich, it's rich. It's a lot of money. Even training. If you want to go in and you want to do training, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to drive a truck, but guess what? People come through my program and they learn how to drive a truck. I have an excellent team that teaches them what they need to do. I handle the paperwork and do all that kind of stuff or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just kind of where my gifting is at, But I have a team that gets them on that truck, teach them how to do the truck. I build relationships. So when our guys get finished, they have jobs that they can go to and things like that. So it's just a lot that you can do in trucking. And I just want to kind of do a class and talk about the different avenues that you can take. And at the same time in the class, talk about some basic terms, vocabulary that you need to know, basic terminology, especially for people that have never, ever even been in trucking before, just some basic terms that you should know. And then, probably not really getting into the specifics of dispatching or brokering or anything, because, you might not want to go into dispatching, might not want to go into brokering, but looking at the clusters and different avenues from the clusters that you can go into this industry. Nobody told me this stuff, it was just, over the years, if something didn't work, then I figured something else out, And once I figured something else out, I said, okay, I want to take it, develop it into a training and show other people how to do it, because I always say the pie is huge. It's not just, people think, I get a piece of pie and that's it. No, the pie is huge. You can, honey, the pie keep making and making and making all over again, just like your mama on Thanksgiving that make them sweet potato pies. She whip up that batter and pour it in that pastry, and then next thing you know, you got 5, 6 sweet potato pie. That's the way trucking is, honey. It's a lot. It's a lot, and you can get into it. Like I said, it's a lot of like different rules that are coming out this year about the clearinghouse. You get on top of that stuff, and you figure out, I remember in 2022, they came up with the thing that you have to go to a school, a ELD, eligible training provider or whatever, in order to get your license. I jumped on it. Like, oh, now you have to go through a program to get your license. Okay. And I'm just saying, it's especially with like I said, the carrier market coming out and things like that. I don't want to just be rumbling this morning, but I get energy, especially on a Monday morning when I come in and I do lives and I start talking to you guys. Did anybody have I'm gonna open the floor for any trucking questions, any guess what, y'all? I know a lot now about grants and governments and all that kind of stuff, like more than my little head want to know. And I'm gonna open the floor up if anybody has any questions or anything like that this morning. Anything. You can just type it in the little chat line if you have any questions, trucking questions about grants, proposals, things like that, government funding, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you don't, that is perfectly fine too. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close out this morning, and I'm gonna say happy trucking to you guys that are still in. I'm proud of you. You fought through the storm, you fought through it, fought through the rates and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just here to say that based on the articles I'm reading, that the sun is about to shine, that it's about to be a carrier market. Rates are about to go up, which is awesome. And anytime you get insider information like that, or people are talking like that, if you've been thinking about getting in trucking, like I would say probably the last 2 years, I haven't done a lot of videos because I just felt like it's not a good market to get into right now, but it looks like it's on the upswing. And so if you're thinking about it, definitely come on in, join the team. Like I said, $99 special. My email address is operations@ekmempire.com, operations@ekmempire.com. Bring on the spring month. There you go. Yes, Code Red. Yes, the spring. Yes. Even for us driving, teaching drivers how to drive, like, I'm ready for the better weather to hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more difficult, of course, in the snow, in the cold, and the spring is just perfect. I don't like my guys, ladies standing out there in the cold and the ice. I mean, and then, like I said, this has been an experience in itself, and I'll probably talk about it one time. But, I always look at my students and I'm always like, y'all gonna be truck drivers. You guys, when they start complaining about the cold or the heat or something, you're gonna be truck drivers. This is what truck drivers do. They stand in the cold, they stand in the heat, they unwind, they do everything, Anyway, my telephone number is 816-594-6199. Oh my goodness, are you in Wyoming? Oh God, I know you are tired of Wyoming and those mountains and the snow. I really don't miss having a truck on the road in the wintertime. Sometimes I miss not having trucks on the road, but like you said, this in the wintertime, and then the chains and the snow laws, you know what I'm saying? Like, that can come in effect. You don't even know, your driver don't know. All of a sudden your driver get pulled over because they don't have chains on their truck. You know what I'm saying? And they hit you with this and hit you with that. I remember one time I had a driver, and where was he? He was in Idaho, and I had no idea that like you needed chains. Like, I was new, you know what I'm saying? I was green. I didn't know you needed chains. So my driver's at Idaho. He gets pulled over because he doesn't have chains, right? So I was like, okay, the guy was like, it's $400. I'll take him to get the chains. Okay. Pay the $400, get the chains. Then I had to pay the guy like $300 for taking it, right? The $400 was for the chains. So then we get out there, he puts the chains on. Then after he put the chains on, he goes, oh, well, chain time is lifted, whatever it is lifted. Exactly. Wait, but he said it's lifted. So we're going to have to take the chains out. Hit me with another $400. When you got a truck on the road, you gotta basically, you kind of at their mercy. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people in my training, you get more bees with honey. You can't be arguing and fighting and all that kind of stuff out there. It's like, okay, whatever you say. But guess what, y'all? Guess what? I never sent another truck back to Idaho again. All it took was one time for something to happen to me, honey. And like you in Wyoming, that Oregon, that Washington area, how tight it is. I remember I used to jump at the Christmas trees. It's Christmas tree season, and so you get that good money up there or whatever, honey. And my drivers would be complaining, and it'd be so narrow. I had a guy call me one time, sending me pictures about how narrow it is. Like, that's when I first started dispatching, and I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of self-learned, okay, no Oregon, no Washington, no Idaho, no Montana. I used to have a dispatcher. Now I'm just rumbling, y'all. I used to have a dispatcher, and I'm really, really strict. And if you ever take our training, you'll see how strict I am as far as region, where to go and things like that. And she used to be like, she would send her trucks up to Montana, and they knew I did not like Montana. Missy, like, I got him a load out, because my thing was, if you get him up to Montana, honey, and you jump at that Montana money, you better make sure you got him a load out, And Missy, like, I got him a load out. I got him a load out. And I couldn't argue with the girl, y'all, because she was getting like $4,000 going into Montana, and so I couldn't argue with her. Like, she was getting good rates, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just shut up, like, hey, all right, the money's coming in, she booking him out, this and that. What? I can't say nothing, I fussed at her, but hey, it's what it is, And honey, one time, all it took was one time, she got him stuck in Montana. And he was stuck there for like 3 days, y'all. 3 days in Montana. And she was looking like a sad puppy dog. And I was like, you will not send a truck back to Montana again. I know we done made a whole bunch of money, honey, but this one time with this 3-day hit, a truck being stuck for 3 days, that's a lot of money. Even if you equate the $4,000 that we made coming in after the truck is sitting for 3 days, we in the negative. You know what I'm saying? I still got to pay the driver. You got to run fuel. Yeah, exactly, Code Red. Yep, you're right. And that's where I'm going to. Even with your backhaul, adding in the backhaul miles, and the rate is good. If you can't get him a load out for 3 days and he's sitting for 3 days, I'm losing money. Like, what was the point? You know what I'm saying? And he's sitting for 3 days. Like, calculating these 2 months that you done rode him up to Montana, I see it's been good, but this is just me. I got a truck sitting for 3 days, honey, and this is horror, and I don't want horror no more. So don't go jumping up there no more, it didn't take a lot to convince her, but that's just like Florida. I used to tell people, and I do it in my training, and I tell my dispatchers, if you want a horrible Monday, you put a guy in Florida and don't have him a load out. It's cool to send people those places, if you got a load coming out, like as soon as you book, bam, you book them out, but you want a horrible Monday, you come in and you don't have him or her a load out on the floor to Florida on Monday, and if you ain't got a load by 10 o'clock, you start deadheading his butt, you know what I'm saying, or her butt. You just start deadheading them up to Georgia or whatever, because the worst thing is for a truck to be sitting, nobody's making money. The driver gets irritated. Most of the time, you still got to keep fuel running. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to keep them in a cold or hot truck, so you got to keep your fuel running and things like that. I'm sitting up here looking at my map. And while I'm looking at my map, I'm just thinking about all this stuff. Oklahoma, y'all. If you get, I know probably Code Red and some of y'all drivers know this. If you get pulled over in Oklahoma, you get a ticket in Oklahoma, you got to pay that ticket right then and there, like off the bat. Like, this is stuff that, you learn as you in the industry or whatever, but you have to pay like right there off the bat. We had a guy one time, he got pulled over in Oklahoma, $1,600 ticket, and we had to pay it right then and there. Deadhead to Statesboro, Georgia. There you go, from Florida. There you go. There you go, right there. Yep, 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 yep. If you don't have them, honey, and I used to tell my dispatchers, don't give it all day. If that truck is in Florida, don't give him or her all day. Like, get it moving, Don't test the waters, In trucking, over the years, I just became more cautious, I used to be a risk taker like that. But, honey, you have one, and it seemed like them bad days when you got a truck stuck, it seemed like those days are the longest days. Like, it just seemed like they the longest days, y'all, for real, for real. Like Monday, if he's sitting up there in Florida and you don't got no load, because and it makes so much more sense, because when I used to broker, if you had loads in certain areas, like if you had a load on the East Coast, your phone was going to blow up. If you had a load coming out of Florida, your phone was going to blow up. So when I went on the truck side, on the carrier side, it was like, oh, this makes sense now. Why it's blowing up? Because it ain't no freight coming out. And little bitty freight that's coming out, everybody's fighting over it. And so, yeah, I can do $1 a mile or something like that, or cheap. As a broker, I will say this, as a broker, you don't think about the expenses of a truck. It's just, you don't think about it. Like, you really don't even think about it, because you don't know about it. But then when you get on the truck side, you be like, these expenses they can kick your butt. My first Florida trip, I was in Florida to Wednesday morning waiting. See what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's not your fault. That's your dispatcher's fault. I don't even know who your dispatcher is, but that's not your fault. That's your dispatcher fault. Yeah. Yeah, you sitting there waiting. And that, like, for my dispatchers, and of course I don't dispatch anymore, but in my training, like, I'm always like, when you book somebody, get them right out. Like, don't hesitate or anything like that. Get them right out. Like, because you just don't want to deal with that. I have, that was mine. Oh, you dispatch your own truck. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. And you probably got good money to go down to Florida too. I'm sure you got paid good money going down to Florida. And I hope he wasn't like, the deeper down in Florida you get, the worse it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you book you a truck going into Miami or something, it's the worst it can get. The deeper down in Florida, you always want to go to your upper areas in Florida. Of course, unless you're from Florida, everything has, everything got, what is it? Everything has exceptions to the rules, and I don't know everything or nothing like that. I just been in this thing for a long time. But I don't know everything. In my training, I map out like a certain area, certain areas that, if you don't want a hard time, stay in these states. You know what I'm saying? If you travel outside these states, a lot of times you're going to get a hard time, which some people don't mind. Some people, I had a guy one time, y'all, and he called himself what do they call it? Is it scavenger? Like people that's like at the bottom of the, they wait, just wait. I can't think of the word. I don't know if it's scavenger, but they just wait. So he would have his reefers and he would wait. Like, he would not book his loads like on Friday until late Friday. Me, I would be having a heart attack. Like, I got to get this truck going. But he would wait until like late Friday, when loads start dropping off and brokers get desperate. You know what I'm saying? And it never failed. Like, they would be desperate. He would get a phone call and bam, he got like all kind of money or whatever, because brokers are desperate, and that's how he played his trucks, off of desperation of the brokers. For me, honey, I would be last minute service provider. That's it. Yep. That's exactly what he was. And for me, it just would, I mean, this is just me. I want my trucks covered by 9 o'clock in the morning. I want you to start dispatching at 7. By 9, 10, I want everything covered. The rest of the day, I want us babysitting, making sure everybody make it to where they got to go and this and that, just because trucking is stressful. I always say it's not black or white, it's gray. Like anything can happen. Anything can happen. Only works in certain markets. There you go. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, it worked for him. For me, honey, I would have a fit. Like, I need this truck moving because if this truck ain't moving, it might be sitting. Then you got your driver calling, complaining, everything else. And then, if you don't play it right, like you said, I only work in certain markets. If you don't play it right, you end up getting like the bottom of the barrel, thinking you the top dog. You end up being on the bottom. And honey, but that worked for him. So I was just saying, like, everything doesn't work for everybody. You just kind of create, you figure out what works for you. But I'm going to close this out because I've been running my mouth for 30 minutes now. 70 cents per, see what I'm saying? 70 cents per mile. That don't even pay for your fuel, like, and I don't know. I'm probably going to do a video about this one time. I think brokers should know how the market works. I think they should know the expenses that go into having a truck. I think shippers need to know too. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, because when I was a broker, I didn't know none of that. I had no idea how much it cost to run a truck, fuel. I didn't know none of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to tell people I needed E-Tracks on my truck. And when I decided to get on the truck inside, my mentor, he took me to California. He has like 30 trucks in a big warehouse. And so I'll never forget that night. He was like, or that day, he was like, Elena, you got to learn everything about these trucks. You have to learn. And y'all, I was there all night. I never been so dirty in my whole life. Like I went back to the hotel room and I just looked like a dirt monster. Like I felt like I couldn't shower enough to take all that dirt. He had me going underneath the trucks. He had me going inside the truck, like everything. You know what I'm saying? But I remember he was like, Elaine, this is an E-Track. And I got on that trailer and I looked. No, he said, Elaine, you know what an E-Track is? And I was like, yeah, I do. Because when I broker, I did a lot of nursery. I was like, yeah, I know what an E-Track is. Trucks need E-Tracks for nursery and this and that. And I'm explaining it to him. And he was like, so here it is. And I just looked, I was like, oh, that's an E-Track. And he's like, you never saw an E-Track? And I was like, no, no coveralls on, honey. No. Not to make it so bad, I had on my sandals because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it at all. Like I didn't have on heels, thank God, but I had on sandals. Yeah. So my little toes was dirty. It was just dirty, girl. It was just dirty. But I didn't know what an E-Track was, and he's like, Elena, you don't know what E-Track is, and you deliver all this nursery and this and that. And I'm like, the orders come over and whatever it say, when you call me, I'm gonna say this is what I need your truck to have. If you don't have it, then oh well. That's why sometimes when you talk to brokers, they're not as lenient on things because they don't know. You know what I'm saying? They just don't know, and but anyway, I figured out what E-Tracks were. And it was just so crazy because I was like, oh, and then he was like, Eli, you can Google stuff. Just Google it to find out. And I'm like, you know what? I probably can, I just know if you don't got it, I'm moving on, But anyway, I do think that which it probably won't ever happen. It's a lot of money that flows in this industry. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that brokers need to know how these trucks operate, what kind of money it takes to operate this truck, and it's not that I'm always trying to get over on you for money. Baby, I'm just trying to make it do what it do, like Jamie Foxx said. Y'all think Jamie Foxx. I'm just trying to, make my truck operate and stay in business. You giving me 70 cents per mile. How am I stay in business on that? You giving me $1 a mile. How am I stay in business with that? You know what I'm saying? I just wish that people would understand the expenses and that part of trucking and what we had to go through. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's what it is. Like they talk about the brokers trying to make the brokers disclose their rate. It's not going to happen. It's too much money in this industry, and there's too many people behind the scenes that's making money off of money. You get what I'm saying? They making money off of making money. So I just, and I don't necessarily agree with that. The broker saying, this is how much they charged or anything like that. They know trying to sneak into a TIA conference, right? Right. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily agree with that, because at the same time, I do train brokers, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't want to mess your money up, but I do think that there needs to, you say, or carrier 411. It's a live video, so I can't talk about that. I don't want to be going viral nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be going viral nowhere. But yeah, it's a lot of people make money off of people making money. That's just it. Anywho, but Cobra, you gonna get me in trouble this morning. I'm gonna be on Good Morning America. They gonna be like, this little girl in Kansas City said this. But yeah, I mean, it's the truth. So yeah, I don't agree with brokers, saying how much they make or anything like that. That's, on you. But at the same time, I do think that there needs to be some type of understanding of what the trucking company has to pay, our expenses that we have to occur, how much the driver gets paid. Don't be selfish. Like, understand the whole realm of things. Ivan. Hi, Elaine. This is Ivan from Miami. Can you give out your business email address again? Oh, yes, Ivan. Yes. My email address. I'm gonna type it right here. I'm just going on and on and on. Probably because I don't want to do no work this morning. Operations at ekmempire.com. And I'm also put my number on here, 816 594 6199. Yeah, there you go, Mr. Ivan. There you go. There you go. Yeah, definitely. If I can help you, I would love to help you. Like I said, I know I'm probably just going on and on because I don't want to do no work. Like, yeah, I have a meeting today because we're looking at opening our training in different counties, different areas and things like that. And so I have like a really big meeting today, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard about WIOA, WIOAA. Okay, so the WIOA is a fund, it's a grant, right? And so it comes down from, I'm probably gonna have to delete this video. Because I'm talking to y'all like I'm just y'all in my kitchen or living room or something. You know what I'm saying? So because I'm telling y'all, it's so much to this game. That's why I'm doing that $99 class. Like, just to kind of say, it's so much, because you'll be sitting there and people don't tell you stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this WIOA, right? Okay, so it's a grant, and the grant comes down, the federal government gives it to each state, right? Each state gets this money, and the money goes for training and development to people that are getting out of prison, right? I got some cousins getting out of prison that are like have barriers in life, of course, below poverty level, but not just that, unemployed, but not just that, like our young girls with babies, they qualify. It's just a lot of different qualifications that you can have, to get this grant. And so what the grant does is it pays for training. And so you get a lot of young people, guys that want to go into CDL. I even started our program, Logistics Management, because it's a lot of, I learned this. It's a huge Google center in Miami, Oklahoma that yes, Ivan, that's the name of it. Yes. And every state has it. It like Okay, I'm all over the place. So, in Oklahoma, they have, if you're from Oklahoma, they have like this huge data center that opened up. And so I did research. You don't know stuff till you do research. And I saw like the millions of dollars that they put into it. Anyway, I talked to one of the ladies down there in Oklahoma, and she's like, they need logistics people in there. I'm like, are you serious? Shut your mouth, girl. And she's like, yeah, they need logistics people in there. And so, our class, our logistics management class, we have in that class, I teach dispatching, I teach freight brokering, I teach all the business side of trucking, operations, the compliance, all of that kind of stuff. And so it's there, and it's available on the WIOA grant. So it's not just about CDL. I have like an administrative assistant course that we teach that right now, with AI coming out, we have a section in there about AI and operations management course that we teach, which is all about entrepreneurship, not just about entrepreneurship, but about building, it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. The formula works for any kind of business. I've helped people set up like group homes, um, foster homes, sober living homes, things like that. I've helped just different type of businesses, t-shirt companies, real estate companies. You know what I mean? Because it's just our entrepreneurship formula is just a formula. Nonprofits definitely helped a lot of nonprofits get their business plans together, get their whole business strategy together. It's just trucking happened to be the industry that I stuck with. I remember when I first started, and I was like, okay, I want to have one specific industry, and I chose trucking. Right now, I like operations, streamlining operations for businesses and things like that. Just the whole entrepreneurship, because I'm be honest, over 18 years of doing this stuff, you learn some stuff. And if you can teach it to somebody, you teach it. Anyway, so these states have this WIOA grant, right? And each state is broke down into regions, right? And so with the regions, according to the regions, it's according to what is required for you to be able to offer the training programs that you have available. You know what I mean? According to the regions, according to the states and things like that. So yeah, I'm looking at this big United States, and from the north, east, south, and west, it's a whole bunch of counties, and in those counties, it's a whole bunch of people that need help. You know what I mean? In different areas and things like that. And so that's just, my passion is like helping people. Where can you get in? Where can you fit in? Where can you get something going, something popping, especially if you got that entrepreneurship spirit. And the same people are getting these grants and these monies and things like that, and they figure stuff out. They figure how to make it do what it do, how to make it work, and then here you come along and it's nobody really out there to help you. It's no book on this stuff. I'm telling y'all, when I started this whole training stuff and started going like getting like federal, state money and things like that, it's just been like, when I say, I don't know if it was worse learning this part or learning trucking. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say trucking. I'm gonna say trucking, because trucking, honey, every day you wake up, you don't know what you get. At least over here, you figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Each state has rules and regulations. You kind of figure it out. You can get a blueprint. And trucking is really not a blueprint, honey. You like every day it can be something. And the more trucks you have on the road, the more somethings it can be. And then it's up to you at the end to look at your month and say, is the money worth the stress? And for me, it was. For me, it just was. It was like, oh, let me go on into another month. Let me go into another season. We all cry about the low seasons and things like that, but if we can survive it, we fighting into the high season, because we know the high season is gonna make up for everything. Everybody's having good Christmases. Anyway, I am done, y'all. You guys have an awesome day. Again, Elena is my name. Operations at ekmempire.com. That's my telephone number, 816-594-6199. I'm running a $99 special for all that you need to know about trucking class, what you need to know about trucking, and how to get into the industry. Ivan, great. Thanks for the info. We'll be in touch with you. We need more like you. Oh, thank you, Ivan. I appreciate that, honey. Thank you. You guys have an awesome, wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.